Language, the greatest adventure. Kotoba Camp.
Memo.
Memo.
A short written message used in business or education. A brief document conveying information or instructions.
备忘录，简短书面信息，公文。
Campus officials circulated a memo detailing the new recycling initiative that would begin next month. A memo was posted on the bulletin board announcing changes to the library's operating hours during the holiday season.
Several departments received a memo outlining the updated safety protocols for laboratory equipment usage.
The Student Council drafted a memo addressing concerns about limited parking availability on the north side of campus.
Effective communication often requires concise memos that clearly state objectives without unnecessary elaboration.
Memorandum.
Memorandum.
The official memorandum outlined specific guidelines for submitting grant proposals to the foundation. Memoize.
Memoize. Optimizing algorithms by memoizing intermediate results can dramatically reduce processing time for complex calculations.
Note, notice, bulletin, directive.
笔记、通知、公告、指令。
Letter, report, thesis, dissertation.
信件、报告、论文、学位论文。
Mental.
Mental.
Relating to the mind or process of thinking. Intellectual rather than physical. A medical examination to determine someone's state of mind.
心理的、精神的、智力的、脑力的、心理检查。
Cognitive dissonance is a psychological phenomenon that creates mental discomfort when people hold contradictory beliefs or values. The professor explained that cognitive dissonance causes mental distress when our actions contradict our beliefs about ourselves.
The researchers conducted a series of experiments to determine how mental imagery affects problem-solving abilities in different age groups.
Students must develop strong mental discipline to manage the academic workload and maintain a healthy balance between study and relaxation.
The new mental health initiative on campus provides resources for students experiencing academic stress and anxiety.
Mentality.
Mentality.
The study revealed a significant shift in the mentality of young adults regarding environmental conservation. Mentally.
Mentally. The participants were mentally exhausted after completing the complex cognitive tasks in the experiment.
Intellectual, cognitive, psychological, cerebral.
智力的、认知的、心理的、脑力的。
Physical, bodily, corporeal, somatic.
身体的、肉体的、躯体的、躯干的。
Mention.
Mention.
To refer to something or someone briefly, without going into detail. A brief reference or remark.
提及、谈及、提到，简短的说明，提及、言及。
When people are asked about the most important discoveries or inventions made in the last 200 years, they usually mention something very obvious, like electricity or automobiles. To support your argument about targeted training programs, You could mention a successful case study from a company that implemented such programs for their employees.
The professor asked why ancient civilizations rarely mention astronomical phenomena that would have been clearly visible to them.
When discussing environmental policies, it's important to mention both the economic costs and the long-term ecological benefits.
The lecture didn't mention the cultural factors that influenced the development of early writing systems in Mesopotamia.
Mentionable.
Mentionable.
None of the archaeological findings were mentionable in the final report because they lacked sufficient contextual evidence. Unmentionable.
Unmentionable. Certain topics were considered unmentionable in academic discourse until recent shifts in research ethics and methodology.
Refer to, cite, allude to, note.
提及、引用、暗指、注明。
Omit, ignore, overlook, disregard.
省略、忽视、忽略、不理会。
Menu.
Menu.
A list of food or dishes available in a restaurant or cafeteria. A set of options presented for selection.
菜单、选择项目、选单。
The university cafeteria introduced a new menu with more vegetarian options to accommodate students' dietary preferences. The dining hall's seasonal menu features locally sourced ingredients that support sustainable farming practices.
Students complained that the cafeteria menu lacked nutritional information necessary for making healthy food choices.
When planning campus events, organizers should consider providing a diverse menu to accommodate various cultural preferences.
The administration decided to revise the dining hall menu after receiving feedback about limited options for students with allergies.
Menu item.
Menu item.
The most popular menu item in the campus cafeteria is the locally sourced organic salad bar. Menu board.
Menu board. The digital menu board in the Student Center allows for quick updates when seasonal ingredients change.
Selection, options, choices, offerings.
选择、选项、抉择、供应品。
Limitation, restriction, constraint, scarcity.
限制、约束、束缚、稀缺。
Merchant.
Merchant.
A person who buys and sells goods in large quantities, especially one who imports and exports goods. A person who owns or runs a retail business.
商人、贸易商、零售商。
In 1614, William Cockayne, an English merchant and politician, proposed that James I make a dramatic change to the way the English exported cloth. Origin of the goods first. Many goods traded by Ophir's merchants seem to have come from South Asia. The goods included rare woods native to South Asia.
During the Han Dynasty, Chinese merchants began to trade with lands to its west over the Silk Road, a set of trade routes stretching all the way to the Mediterranean.
Merchants played an evolving role as facilitators not just of long-distance trade but also of intercultural exchange and dialogue.
The East became wealthy because of trade and commerce, and a new merchant class emerged with significant political influence.
Merchantry.
Merchantry.
The merchantry of medieval Europe developed complex financial systems to facilitate international trade. Mercantile.
Mercantile. The mercantile policies of European powers led to the establishment of colonial outposts throughout Asia.
Trader, vendor, dealer, retailer.
交易者、贩卖者、经销商、零售商。
Consumer, buyer, customer, client.
消费者、购买者、顾客、客户。
Mercy.
Mercy.
Compassion or forgiveness shown towards someone whom it is within one's power to punish or harm. To show compassion or forgiveness.
怜悯、仁慈、宽恕、饶恕。
The judge showed mercy to the first-time offender by imposing a lighter sentence than what the law prescribed. The professor extended mercy to students affected by the campus power outage by granting them an extension on their research papers.
Conservationists argue that showing mercy to endangered species requires establishing protected habitats rather than just restricting hunting.
The Ethics Committee debated whether mercy killing should be considered a legitimate medical practice in cases of terminal illness.
Philosophers have long debated whether justice without mercy is truly just or merely punitive in nature.
Merciful.
Merciful.
The merciful actions of healthcare workers during the epidemic were praised in the International Medical Journal. Merciless.
Merciless. The archaeological evidence suggests that ancient civilizations were often merciless toward conquered peoples.
Compassion, clemency, leniency, forgiveness.
同情、宽容、宽大、宽恕。
Cruelty, harshness, severity, ruthlessness.
残忍、严厉、严酷、无情。
Mere.
Mere.
Used to emphasize how small, insignificant, or unimportant someone or something is. Nothing more than
仅仅的、只不过的、微不足道的。
The mere presence of a deadline can significantly affect how people approach tasks, even when the deadline is far in the future. The experiment showed that the mere act of setting a deadline, regardless of its distance, prompted students to estimate tasks as more difficult.
What was once considered a mere hypothesis about climate change has now been substantiated by extensive scientific evidence.
The professor emphasized that the mere exposure effect explains why we tend to develop preferences for things, simply because we are familiar with them.
The researcher argued that the discovery was not a mere coincidence, but the result of careful experimental design.
Merely. The professor explained that merely reading about a concept is not sufficient for deep understanding. Mereness.
The mereness of the sample size limited the study's statistical significance.
Simply, only, just, purely.
仅仅、只是、纯粹、单纯的。
Significant, substantial, considerable, important.
重要的、实质性的、相当大的、重要的。
Mess.
A situation that is confused, disorganized, or dirty. A state of disorder. To make untidy or dirty, to interfere with.
混乱、脏乱、弄乱、弄脏、干扰。
Environmental scientists discovered that industrial waste had created a mess of toxic chemicals in the groundwater system. The archaeological site became a mess when unexpected rain disrupted the careful excavation process.
Urban planners must address the mess of uncontrolled development before implementing new sustainability measures.
The experiment's results were a mess due to contaminated samples and inconsistent testing conditions.
Improper waste management can mess up delicate ecological systems in ways that take decades to recover.
Messy. The data collection process was messy due to inconsistent reporting methods. Messed up.
The messed up experimental procedure led to unreliable results.
Chaos, disorder, disarray, confusion.
混乱、无序、杂乱、困惑。
Order, organization, tidiness, neatness.
秩序、组织、整洁、整齐。
Method. A systematic way of doing something, a particular procedure for accomplishing a task.
系统的方式、方法、程序。
Researchers developed a novel method for analyzing ancient DNA samples without damaging the specimens. Geologists applied various dating methods to determine the age of the rock formations.
The scientific method requires careful observation and systematic documentation of experimental results.
Marine biologists employed non-invasive methods to study coral reef ecosystems.
The anthropologists' field research methods revealed previously unknown cultural practices.
Methodical. The methodical analysis of soil samples provided crucial evidence about ancient farming practices. Methodology.
The research methodology combined quantitative and qualitative approaches to data collection.
Approach, procedure, technique, system.
方法、程序、技术、系统。
Chaos, disorder, randomness, haphazardness.
混乱、无序、随机、杂乱。
Mine.
An
excavation in the earth for extracting minerals. To extract minerals from the earth.
矿坑、矿井、开采、挖掘。
Ancient copper mines in the Mediterranean region provided essential materials for early civilizations. Archaeologists discovered evidence of prehistoric flint mining techniques in chalk deposits.
Salt mines beneath the Earth's surface reveal complex geological processes spanning millions of years.
Gold mining activities in ancient Egypt left behind detailed hieroglyphic records of extraction methods.
Environmental impacts of coal mining include groundwater contamination and soil erosion. Miner.
Ancient miners developed sophisticated techniques for extracting precious metals from deep underground. Mining
operations significantly altered the landscape of the mountain region.
Extract, excavate, dig, unearth.
提取、挖掘、挖、发掘。
Preserve, conserve, protect, safeguard.
保护、保存、维护、捍卫。
Well done! Take a break and remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Let's keep our learning motivation fresh.
Success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it.